Question. What if I told you that everything that you think you know about teenagers growing up in the most dangerous, crime-filled, drug-ridden communities that you can think of is probably wrong? What if I told you that in shanty and unofficial communities like Bajo de Anonos, where an estimated 50% of adolescents join the narco economy, don't begin because of money, power, or peer pressure? Would you believe me? Question. Why is it that all the well-intended programs teaching sports or arts or even entrepreneurship to kids in dangerous communities barely leave a dent in crime, addiction, or graduation rates, or rarely even break poverty cycles? Question. Why is it that over the last 30 years, nearly every industry, business, and enterprise has been revolutionized by data, innovation, and technology? And yet, compassionate and bleeding heart people like myself are still passing out lunches and backpacks and hoping and praying that things are going to change, all while impoverished communities grow worse and the next generation, their potential, dies in the streets. You see, when Marvelous Ways International partnered with Lifting Hands and we formed a No-No-Stop-Lab project, questions and innovation is what we did. We surveyed the majority of teenagers in Bajo de Anonos, asking them questions about themselves, about if they felt loved, accepted, or lonely, if they were hungry, and if they needed somebody to talk to. We asked questions about school, their hopes, their futures, and their past. And yeah, we asked about the gangs and the narco opportunities. We then formed focus groups asking star students and gang members from the same neighborhood the same questions, and this is what we found. 98% said their community was dangerous and they were in fear for their family. But approximately 30% surveyed said that they were interested or open to narco in one form or another. We then isolated the data of that 30% and found remarkable correlations. Most of the 30% had no self-concept. They knew very little about themselves. And number two, we found that a majority identified that they had traumatic childhoods, which is not surprising. Number three, they had no ability to project their futures. They couldn't even see themselves a month, a year, let alone 5 or 10 years from now. Number four, and yes, many said that their families rarely had enough to eat. The focus group substantiated the surveys. The attraction to joining gangs, prostitution, human trafficking, violence for hire, and drug trafficking isn't about money, power, or peer pressure. At least not to begin with. It's about opportunity. So I said it again, it's about opportunity. Kids growing up in dangerous communities with no self-concept, no ability to vision their future, and no emotional tools to process their past have no ability to turn down the opportunity. You see, without these mental tools, there is no risk to consider or weigh. Question. With this information, what do we do next? So what do we do with this information? And the answer is the same thing that your company does. We innovate. We pilot. We measure. We revise. We test. We replicate. The No-No-Stop-Lab project is developing programming right now that addresses those three things: emotional health, self-concept and discovery, and the ability to vision and plan for one's future. Our psychology team developed the first of its kind psychometric tool designed to measure progress in each of the young people in those three areas. We are piloting and measuring as we speak, and I still have questions. Do you believe there is hope for these kids? That collectively we can innovate new solutions to break the poverty cycle in dangerous communities all over this region? If the answer to that question is yes, then what combination of time, influence, and financial resources are you willing to invest into the No-No-Stop-Lab project? This is your opportunity. Any questions?